Works Department reveal plans to manage road networks. Japan to provide logistical support for APEC Summit. And Hela police concerned on use of high-powered guns in tribal fights.
This is National EMTV News with Hope Imaka.
Hello and thank you for joining me for Wednesday's news. The Department of Works and Implementation launched two important documents today that will guide them to effectively manage the country's road networks. The department is expecting outcomes that include a national road network that will contribute to nation building by connecting missing links and opening up economic corridors.
Staff and management of the Department of Works and Implementation took the time to mark the launch of the department's Corporate Strategic Plan 2015 to 2019, as well as its specification for Road and Bridge Works 2015. The documents were launched by the Minister for Works and Implementation, Francis Awesa, and Secretary David Were. The corporate plan has two parts. The first is the department's roles and responsibilities, and the second is the implementation plan.
The department's corporate plan is developed to improve the overall performance of the department.
The major focus areas of the plan includes implementing a structured maintenance program to ensure the current 4,000 kilometers of national roads do not deteriorate. It also wants to implement a program to upgrade and seal another 1,000 kilometers of national roads to good condition. The specification for road and bridge works gives technical specifications that are now of current world standards. Secretary Were said the Department of Works needs about 1.7 billion kina annually for the next 5 years to successfully implement these plans.
It is important that we identify the key drivers. What is crucial to translate those targets into some measurable outcomes that impacts the lives of our people. And we see that consistency and adequate funding is key.
Minister Awesa said more than 1.7 billion kina was spent in 2015 on road maintenance and construction. He also raised the issue of variations and made a strong call for this costly exercise to be stopped.
Information, more transparency in the way we do business here in terms of stopping variation. This is what I said before when I was appointed 3 years ago. Variation is an industry that has been entrenched, and we've got to stop it.
Minister Awesa also called for a look into the tender evaluation process of contractors. He warned officers of the department that he will not tolerate corrupt practices and said if the plans are to work, everyone had to clean up their act. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
The Japanese government will provide logistical support for PNG to host the 2018 APEC Summit. Foreign Affairs Minister Rambink Pato and Japanese Ambassador Morio Matsumoto today signed a memorandum of understanding to execute the program. Under the program, Japan's assistance will total 13 million kina to cover logistics for APEC, as well as a component for improving education in rural PNG.
Through a non-project grant aid, Japan will assist PNG in preparations for APEC 2018 and education materials through the program EMTV. Japan Ambassador Morio Matsumoto said PNG will be hosting a major event and transport of guests will be important. The 13 million kina will help PNG to deal with logistics.
They are aware of Japanese government to assist Papua New Guinea government's effort in hosting the APEC 2018.
Ambassador Matsumoto also said that education was key in developing countries. He said that Japan's government would like to provide remote schools with education materials to improve education and to further promote EMTV.
The people, especially the small kids in the remote area, through the TV broadcasting, education material distribution system, which is established in last 10 to 14 years.
Foreign Affairs Minister Ranbing Pato thanked Japan for the ongoing support. He said that Japan was an important partner and has always supported PNG not only through this project but many others.
Thank your government and your people for the continued support of the government of Japan, not only in this project but in so many other projects.
Adelaide Siraxkari, National, EMTV News.
All public servants wishing to contest the 2017 national election will have to resign by October 20 this year. This is a policy of the Public Service Management Act 2014 that states any person wishing to contest an election must resign 6 months before writs are issued. Member for Usino Bundi, Anton Yagama, raised a question in Parliament yesterday on the eligibility of public servants wishing to contest the national elections.
To contest the election,
Usino Bundi MP Anton Yagama queried eligibility on substantive appointments for those public servants intending to contest elections.
when public servants resign, do they automatically come back to their original position? He got one law governing all public servants who said now work campaign using government facilities.
Writs of the 2017 national election will be issued on April 20 next year, and Public Service Minister Dr. Puka Temu said under the general orders by September 20 this year, notices must be submitted.
By October 20th of this year, all public servants must resign. Under the general orders, all public servants must give 1 month notice to their departmental heads, provincial administrators, or chief executive officers of CEO of the district development authorities.
Minister Temu also clarified those who resign will have to reapply and warn public servants using government assets for early campaigns to refrain as penalty applies.
Those who resign will no longer come back automatically. If they want their positions back, they will have to reapply with the rest of the public servants.
Sir Puka called on Parliament's wisdom if the law can be amended from 6 to 12 months for public servants resigning to contest elections.
And so I am convinced that perhaps 6 months resigning before the election is not enough. We should amend the law for 12 months before the election.
As Public Service Minister, he is willing to bring the amendments in the next Parliament session. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Good news for the people of Carteret's Island on the autonomous region of Bougainville. The Carterets, the world's first climate refugees, will benefit from $30 million, which is about 88 million kina. These funds have been made available for a partnership program between the PNG government, the Asian Development Bank and Climate Investment Fund, $3 million of which is the government's contribution.
That Bougainville is identified as a pilot.
Carteret Islanders as beneficiary to these funds was made known following series of questions from North Bougainville MP Lauta Toy on the national government's commitment to climate change affected island communities in the autonomous region of Bougainville. While others have faced the challenges, Carteret Islanders, although being declared as first climate change refugees of the world, for far too long have silently suffered.
Has the government got plans to address the specific needs for the Carteret people as declared the first climate change refugees in the world and its neighboring sister atolls, namely the Modlog Islands, Feed Islands, Tasman Island, Tiope Island, Pineapple Islands, and the Nissan Islands, who are equally affected?
Minister responsible for Environment and Conservation, John Pundari, told Parliament the national government through the Climate Change Development Authority signed an agreement with the Asian Development Bank for funding support.
I want to confirm to the honourable member and the people of Carterets, Mortlock, Fiat, Tasman, Tiope, Pineapple and the Nissan Islands that Bougainville is identified, and I am sure there are funds through this program that they will be able to get some benefit from.
Minister Pundari said funding has always been a challenge for the national government and thanked international partners like International Organization for Migration for their continued support.
The International Organization on Migration, a body under the United Nations, they're already at work on the atolls, especially with the Cataract people. And we have a memorandum of understanding that we already have in existence between the Climate Change Development Authority and this organization.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The Enga provincial government has entered into a strategic partnership with an Israeli company to develop a nucleus agricultural estate in the Lagaib district aimed at producing high-yielding food crops. The 50-50 partnership between innovative agro-industries and the provincial government will involve 320 households who will receive technical assistance as well. The project will be located at the abandoned Tamul Agricultural Research Station, which has several hectares of unused government land. Scott Wider with this special report from Enga.
This scenic location is where the Talum High Altitude Research Station used to be. For the Enga provincial government, this is an important state asset that has remained largely unused for half a decade. The provincial government is trying to rebuild this place with investments worth 23 million kina. It's a 50-50 joint venture with an Israeli company, Innovative Agro Industries. Yesterday, the Israeli delegation arrived in Wapinamanda. In Wabeg, they were introduced to members of the Provincial Assembly. This is a high-level project driven by the provincial government and supported by members of the Provincial Executive Council.
So the government has tried to invest into agricultural incentives or commodities that can provide that rural economic sustenance for our people, and the opportunities that have come out in the food crops, basically in investing in vegetables and food crops as a way of cash crops has become a really big thing. And the partnership with the Israelis actually provides us with an opportunity to invest in what basically staple vegetables and food crops are already being farmed by rural farmers in the high altitude areas.
At the project site, they met with clan representatives. The investment comes as Enga province works steadily on various fronts towards repairing a reputation that has suffered over the years. Half a decade ago, the agriculture station was forced to close by two warring clans. For many outside of Enga, placing a 23 million kina investment, partly funded by a foreign investor, in the middle of a fighting zone is unthinkable. The Enga provincial government has a different view. It is working on the principle that if you give people something of high value, give them responsibility, and seek their involvement, the instances of tribal fighting will steadily diminish.
I'm seeing a lot of changes take place in the mentality of the people. People are tired about tribal fights. I want you to understand, we're the last frontier. We're the last frontier. We're just trying to catch up with the rest of Papua New Guinea. Sometimes rather than walking, we'll start running and we'll stumble. Maybe I think that is how I could explain. Yeah.
Unlike neighboring Western Highlands, the availability of agricultural land is limited. The focus of this project is to use technology and skills brought by the Israelis to produce high-yielding crops that can be exported.
We like to cooperate together with the small farmer. The idea is to give access to the fresh produce that's producing here in Enga province, in Sirunki, and to sort them, to package them, to work together with the community here, to help them to collect all the produce and package it and deliver it to the market in Mosby. We believe that there is market, but the access to market is very tough.
Agricultural extension station that we'll be putting up at Surunki will actually provide for a per cycle that's about 2,200 tons of vegetable produce. 1,000 of that will be produced by the estate itself, the farm estate. The other 1,200 will be farmed out through extension support to local farmers. Per cycle, it's estimated that 320 farmers, smallholder farmers will plant that, providing an estimated 6,000 kina per cycle to each of the 320 households.
The farms managed by the company will act as a nucleus, supported by 320 farming families. The Anga provincial government wants to see a transfer of skills from the Israelis to the 320 families. If successful, this model will be replicated in other parts of the province. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Wabeg.
Ahead in the news, 2 men face court for allegedly stealing millions. Police in Hela concerned about the use of high-powered guns in tribal fights, and a birthday wish for the Grand Chief. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. 2 men appeared before Senior Magistrate Cosmas Bida at the Waigani Committal Court today. One was charged for stealing over 6 million kina of public funds, while the other was charged for stealing over 400,000 kina from his employer. Anton Hombuhanje from EPEC was charged for 3 counts of stealing, money laundering and conspiracy to defraud. He was alleged to have committed the crimes on 3 different occasions in 2015, while Blaise Mara from West New Britain Province was charged for 42 counts of stealing, money laundering, misappropriation, forgery and uttering. He was alleged to have stolen over 400,000 kina from his employer, Population Service International, in 2015. They both will appear in court on May the 10th. Police in Hela Province have raised concerns about the use of high-powered guns in tribal fights. Hela Provincial Police Commander Michael Welly, in an interview with EMTV News, said this has been evident in recent tribal fights in the province. PPC Welly said his men have been outnumbered in recent fights, which claimed the lives of many and destroyed hundreds of others. Still in Hela, police are in need of more men and logistics support to maintain law and order. Hela Provincial Police Commander Michael Welly said the province lacks good police stations for Como, Magarima and Koroba. PPC Welly said his plans are to have adequate police infrastructures, such as accommodation to bring in more policemen and women. He said his challenges include logistics, support like vehicles and communication.
To have police infrastructure, especially accommodation built, the police stations built, so that I can bring in more men and to put them in various districts, and then to gradually get them to police those districts. More men, I can't do that because there is no accommodation to put them up. So these are the challenges that I have.
The 30-day ultimatum given to the Ministry of Health by doctors in Mount Hagen Hospital ends this Friday. All medical and surgical services from the hospital will not be available after Friday. In a recent meeting, members of the National Doctors Association have agreed that there will be no extension to this deadline. The doctors will vote for a mass walkout or mass resignation if their demands are not met by the Health Minister. Their petition was presented to Health Minister Michael Malabag in Port Moresby on the 9th of March. The petition stems out of continued deterioration and lack of hospital board and management support to key critical areas for basic healthcare services at the hospital. Doctors say the hospital has been functioning without proper facilities of a level 6 hospital. Coordinators from 15 provinces in the country are in Leh this week to attend a 3-day workshop on Demographic and Health Survey, or DHS. The survey is part of the worldwide DHS designed to collect, analyze and disseminate data on health-related issues. The 3-day event is spearheaded by the National Statistics Office.
Through this workshop, the National Statistics Office aims to inform provincial survey coordinators about the 4 main objectives of the Demographic Health Survey, or DHS. The coordinators will be informed on the status of the DHS project to date, including the field procedures as well as the work plan of the project itself. Data collected from DHS will be given to the National Department of Health, Department of National Planning and Monitoring, and other users.
The workshop is really to inform them on the status of the DHS project to date, on some of the field procedures, on the questionnaire design, a lot to do with just information for them to know. I think most importantly on the work plan of the project itself.
This is the third DHS that will be conducted in the country. The first one was done in 1996, while the second survey was done in 2006. Data will be collected using a data collection tool in the form of a survey sample. The survey is conducted every 10 years in between census. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Ley.
Morobe students of the Lutheran Balob Teachers College wished Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare happy birthday today. The Grand Chief's birthday will be on the 9th of this month. He turns 80 years old, and Morabian statesman Boyamo Sali, Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil, and other delegates from Morobe are expected to attend. Today, the students gave their gifts to the elder Morobe statesman to take with him to Wewak. In a small but significant ceremony at the school organized by Morabian student leaders, and the student body gave their gift. The students felt the need to apologize to the first Prime Minister for any wrong that a Morabian politician may have done in the past and present. They wish the Grand Chief good health and long life after over 40 years in politics. They thanked him for it. Boyamo Sali says he will tell Sir Michael when he hands the gifts over to him. And now to our finance news. The Kina opened unchanged at $0.3205 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3130 US, $0.4118 Australian dollars, $0.2719 euro, and 34.28 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and cocoa closed higher, while coffee and copper closed the day lower. Palm oil closed lower, while crude oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 133.68 points lower. The ASX closed at 16.81 points higher. And the All Ordinaries closed at 19.20 points higher. Among stories after the break, 6 policemen implicated in an armed robbery in Port Moresby granted bail. I'll be back with the details. Welcome back to the news. The Waigani National Court has granted 1,500 kina bail each for the 6 policemen implicated in the alleged armed robbery of 2 fast motors in Port Moresby. Judge Panuel Mogish ruled in favor on the grounds that all are still employed by the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary and on the safety of their families.
The decision was handed down late this afternoon before a packed courtroom. Based on the submissions made yesterday, Judge Mogis granted the bail. Now the bail conditions include the 6 to remain within the National Capital District until their case is over and not to be in possession of any firearm or consume alcohol. It was alleged that the 6 were off duty when they did an illegal search at the 2 fast motors in Waigani on March 13 and stole over 40,000 kina, including 5 mobile phones, after kidnapping the owners. All 6 were arrested and charged on 11 counts of armed robbery, kidnapping and extortion. They were refused police bail because of the seriousness of the case and remanded at Bomana prison since their arrest last fortnight. The matter will return to court on the 29th of April. Takla Gunga, National, EMTV News.
And in news just in, families of passengers on board a dinghy believed to have gone missing between Namatanai and Lihir in New Ireland province are waiting anxiously for news and help from authorities. Maita Meme, a man working on Lihir Island, told MTV News this evening that his 19-year-old nephew is among 13 people on board the dinghy, which left Namatanai on Monday morning around 8 o'clock. By 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday, the boat operator called, informing them that they had engine problems. It was the last contact the family had with anyone on board. The passengers include 8 women, 2 girls around 7 years of age, and 3 men. And now to overseas news. Philippine health officials launched the first mass immunization program for dengue fever this week using Dengvaxia, a recent licensed vaccine developed to combat the mosquito-borne disease. Hundreds of public school students at an elementary school in Marikina, Manila, were the first to receive a dose of the immunization drug.
Dengvaxia was developed by French pharmaceutical company Sanofi Pasteur and first licensed in the Philippines in December to be used on individuals between the ages of 9 and 45. Philippines Health Secretary Janet Garin led the first mass immunization with the highlight of the program's objective.
That is what we are targeting, for the communities in the Philippines to be protected, and the dengue illness will actually evolve into a milder type that will not require hospitalization.
The Philippines has reserved 3.5 billion pesos for the vaccines, targeting over 1 million school children in areas with high dengue cases. Each child will be vaccinated in 3 doses. Some critics disagree with the use of Dengvaxia as it was still undergoing regulatory inspection and awaiting approval from the World Health Organization. Parents like Helen Baron, whose children had participated in the immunization program, placed her trust in the government.
We as parents are a bit anxious, but we know they will never give anything to our children without making sure of their safety.
The Philippines had the highest incidence of dengue fever in the Western Pacific from 2013 to 2015, with more than 200,000 cases reported in 2015, the health department reported. On a worldwide scale, according to WHO, dengue is now the world's fastest spreading tropical disease, with the annual number of cases increasing 30-fold in the last 50 years. Melissa Govero, EMTV World News.
Amnesty International's annual death penalty report revealed this week that last year more people were executed than at any other point in the last quarter of a century. This comes despite the fact that for the first time ever, the majority of the world's countries have now abolished state-sponsored killing.
The dramatic surge is blamed on 3 countries, Iran, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, who were responsible for almost 90% of the 1,634 people officially recorded as executed in 2015. Amnesty did not include executions from China as the true extent of the number of people put to death remains a state secret. The rights group said that China remains the world's top executioner. In Saudi Arabia, executions rose by 76% last year. At least 158 people were put to death. Most were beheaded, but authorities also used firing squads and sometimes displayed executed bodies in public. Saudi caused an international outcry when in January 2015 it announced it had executed 47 people on terrorism offences.
The dramatic rise in executions that we recorded in 2015 was down to huge increases, primarily to huge increases in just 3 countries: Iran, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Together, these 3 countries accounted for almost 90% of all the executions that we recorded in 2015, again excluding China.
In Pakistan, the civilian death penalty moratorium was lifted for terrorism offences after the December 2014 Peshawar school massacre. Amnesty recorded that 320 people were sent to the gallows last year, Pakistan's highest number ever.
Saudi Arabian authorities suggest that these executions are carried out to fight terror and safeguard security. But it's clear that they're also using the death penalty in the name of counter-terror to settle scores and crush dissidents.
The number of people Iran put to death jumped by 231 last year to 977 people. It is one of the world's last executioners of juveniles, which is in breach of the international law.
Pakistan, most of the executions weren't of people who were convicted of terrorism-related offences. In Iran, we're concerned that the justification of combating extremism or terrorism is actually being used as a cover to target dissidents. So you've got to look at what the countries are actually doing as well as what they say they're doing.
Amnesty said the top 5 executioners in the world in 2015 were China, Iran, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia and the United States of America in that order. The group did note that America was making progress. It carried out 28 executions last year, its lowest number since 1991. The rest of the world is gradually turning its back on the death penalty. Last year, 4 countries, Fiji, Madagascar, Republic of Congo and Suriname, abolished the punishment.
The Americans and other governments, we call on those governments that support abolition of the death penalty to be much more vocal about its use and very vocal about spikes in its use, this horrific loss of life that we're seeing in countries that are using the death penalty at frankly unprecedented rates, and that includes Saudi Arabia, Iran and Pakistan.
For the first time ever, the majority of the world's countries, 102, have now fully abolished the death penalty. Coren said those still pursuing the death penalty are becoming increasingly isolated and that the trend to abolish executions should continue around most of the world, which Amnesty hopes will put pressure on the Big Five who are responsible for most of the state-sponsored killings.
The countries that use the death penalty are isolated. That those that have been using it at such unprecedented rates are very isolated in a world where the majority of countries are turning the back on the death penalty. So what we see for the future is definitely more abolitions. More and more countries will fully abolish the death penalty. We see already a number of countries very far on that road. But we are concerned that the countries that are using the death penalty in such a shocking way, so many people executed during 2015, we are concerned that that will continue. We're very concerned, for example, that we'll see a continuation in Pakistan. So obviously we'll be pressing the authorities there very hard to move back from the place that they've gone to.
Vanessa Knight, EMTV World News.
You're with National EMTV News. Chukai Sports is coming up next. Stay tuned.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The Interoil Puk-Puks jet off to Hong Kong yesterday, 5 days out of game day, to prepare for the World 7th Series qualifier. While the majority of the squad have yet to make a debut in international sevens, each of them are hoping to make an impact. And one of whom is Brisbane George Mosu, who has played in Brisbane's premier club competition, GPS. Others who have been named in the squad include Willie Tirang, a product of the Interoil Turagu's Sevens program, and Samoan-born Coruscata Veni. While he is yet to feature at a high-level international competition, Mosu is hoping to do his best for PNG.
He may not be a familiar face to the rugby fraternity here in Papua New Guinea, but the university student from Queensland, Australia has stamped his authority in the national sevens team and is here to stay. George Mosu first featured in the Interoil Turagu squad last year in Singapore, and he says he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
It's pretty much an honour to be here because making this team is like making Australia as well. So I'm happy to represent my mother's side. And yeah, no, it's good to be here representing the Puk-Puks team. We'll be continuing to trial in the PNG Sevens as always. Yep.
Willie Tirang, a product of the Interoil Turagu Sevens Development Program, is also new to the feel of things. Representing Papua New Guinea at the world stage isn't the easiest thing, but it is the best thing to happen to any rugby player in the country, and it is a responsibility only very few handle quite well. For Tirang, it's an experience he won't take lightly and one he will make the most of. The much more experienced lot in the team, Wesley Vali, Hensley Peter and Tisa Kautu, will all step up to the plate to assist Captain Henry Kalua in leading the team in Hong Kong this weekend.
2 months now, I'm training. Some new boys, but okay, debut will now look around Hong Kong. Some triple boys will been going first down.
The tournament kicks off on Friday the 8th of April with finals played on Sunday the 10th of April.
Now they're rounded off in style here. They're looking to finish with a flourish. Away goes Wesley Vali. The genie's out to the bottle once again.
Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
Justin Olam returns to the PNG Hunters team after attending his graduation at the University of Technology. He has been named in the starting lineup on the wing, replacing Bland Abavu. The Hunters will be facing a tough Blackhawks team who will be fielding some NRL players.
Nixon Borano will be out in this weekend's clash after sustaining an ankle injury in last week's match. He will be replaced by Ishmael Balkawa in the second row. Wartovo Puara Jr. continues in the halves alongside Watson Boys.
Yeah, I think they did well. They're controlling the boys on the park, but we have a simple game plan and it's nothing fancy, so anyone can just step in and play in those roles here.
Adam Korave makes a return from suspension and has also been named in this weekend's team.
Look to see him do the same thing there, but then he's been suspended after one game and he's been training all along, but he's like match fitness, but he's going to be one of our experienced players. We're looking forward that will come out from the bench and create some impact off. Yeah.
With only one loss so far, senior player Esau Siune says the new boys in the team have realized the level of competition in the Interest Super Cup and have stepped up enormously.
It's a dream team to PNG. Every rugby player in PNG wants to play in Hunters. The next level rugby league in PNG. So, like every young players come to they do little things right every training session to impress the coach to play the best game in a week, every game show. Yeah. As for me, it's like we're all dogs in the team, so we need to lead the boys. Stand up to lead the example to the boys.
Former Hunter Willie Minoga, who joined the Blackhawks at the end of last season, will be coming back to play his former team. A capacity crowd is expected at the National Football Stadium for the 3 p.m. top-of-the-table clash this Sunday. Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
The ITI Port Moresby Cricket Association 2016 competition begins this Saturday with the 6th edition of the Tony Ellie Cup preceding the first round of Premier Turf matches on Sunday. The Tony Ellie Cup pits the best players of Hanuabada origin against the best of Central and Koitabu. Tony Ellie is an icon to the POM-CA as a player and administrator since 1960s. The selectors have named 2 strong sides in a 30-over match. All 14 players named will participate with 3 designated batsmen replaced by designated bowlers. Chukai Sports continues after these short messages. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Today is the International Day of Sport Development and Peace, and sport has been used in many countries as a tool to raise awareness on important issues. Papua New Guinea also has some of its own testimonies, like its own autonomous region using sport as a unifying factor following the civil war on the island of Bougainville.
In commemorating the International Day of Sport and Development for Peace, the United Nations General Secretary Ban Ki-moon says sport is a driving force for positive social change, and the United Nations through sport, led by some of the world's greatest personalities, have been leading awareness on important issues like HIV and AIDS and gender equality. A major new challenge embarked on is implementing the Visionary 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Sport has an essential role to play because it empowers, inspires and unites. In the autonomous region of Bougainville, sport has contributed significantly to peace building that has been attributed in many big sporting events, described as a unique and powerful tool for promoting dignity and equality. The United Nations has called on the government and individuals to harness values and power of sport because it supports achievement of the sustainable development goals. By working and playing together, we can create the future we want. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV Sports.
The Oceania Football's International Club competition has drawn together 12 of the top teams in the region. Fans can be rest assured that the 2016 OFC Champions League will be relayed live across the Pacific. Shane Soroya reports.
This year, the annual competition will see the region's top 12 teams battle in Auckland, New Zealand for the coveted regional crown and a chance to qualify for the FIFA Club World Cup. OFC TV will be there capturing and broadcasting all the action. The tournament starts on the 8th of April and coverage of this year's event is a mix of live broadcasting and streaming. That gives fans around the Pacific a chance to support their local team via multiple TV stations broadcasting in their area, including Australia. The coverage in Fiji, Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands and Australia will see FBC, VBTC, SBC and SBS Australia carry each of the 21 matches live. In New Zealand, Sky Sports will show all Auckland City and Team Wellington matches live, as well as the semi-finals and final. And for Papua New Guinea, EMTV will telecast and stream online all the matches played by Hekari and Lay City Dwellers, as well as the semis and the final should either one of the two make it through to the final four. TNTV in Tahiti have picked up all of Tahitian representative AS Stefana games and semis and final, while NCA in New Caledonia will screen all the matches played by AS Lossi and AS Magenta. Live streaming of all the matches will be available around the world via the OFC Facebook and Twitter channels, with the exception of Papua New Guinea and New Zealand, where Sky TV has exclusive rights to all Team Wellington and Auckland City FC matches. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
World Table Tennis Day was celebrated by the PNG and Chinese communities in Port Moresby today. The social event was organized to mark International Day for Sports Development and Peace with a 20,000 kina donation from the Chinese government. MTV's Godwin Eki reports.
To mark World Table Tennis Day, players from Papua New Guinea and China took part in a social playoff. Also taking part was President of the PNG Table Tennis Federation, George Chow, and the President of Port Moresby and Central Association, Ray Aloy. The day was open to interested table tennis enthusiasts.
Today is the World Table Tennis Day, which is coincident with the International Sports Development Day. And we are here together to celebrate these events. And we are organizing this friendlier competition between our players, PNG table tennis players, with different clubs and some national team players, with the SOE players from China and Chinese embassy and also Chinese medical team. We just try to boost off our table tennis game in Papua New Guinea.
Charles said PNG is doing well internationally in table tennis after Papua New Guinea athletes were sent to China to improve their skills. This is the second year for Papua New Guinea to celebrate World Tennis Day, which happens to coincide with International Sports Development Day as well. Meanwhile, confirmation for table tennis to be part of the PNG Games is yet to be confirmed by PNG Sports Foundation after the code saw its inaugural in the last PNG Games in Ley, Morobe Province. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
Ticket sales for the big clash on Sunday between the PNG Hunters and the Townsville Blackhawks have been changed from Stop and Shop outlets to all Big Rooster outlets. There are 10 Big Rooster outlets in Port Moresby where interested people can go to purchase a ticket.
The event managers for the PNG Hunters home matches in the country are very pleased to announce a partnership moving forward in the sale of tickets for the PNG Hunters home games, and that is a partnership that we've established with Big Rooster. So thank you, Big Rooster, for coming along. We've now decided that all the tickets for all home games for the PNG Hunters matches in Moresby will be sold at the various Big Rooster outlets within Port Moresby. It's a partnership moving forward in that we have seen the strengths that Big Rooster have. We'd like to hop on and be a partnership moving forward in getting as many tickets out to all the PNG Hunters fans. Get out there, purchase your tickets and come along and watch a good game of rugby league and enjoy the day. Ticket prices, you've got 25 kina. That is for the outer stands and that includes a western wing, and 50 kina for the grandstand tickets.
That ends Trukai Sports. I'll be back with the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, occasional showers for Port Moresby, few occasional showers for Daru and Popondetta, chances of few occasional showers for Kerma and few showers for Alatau. In the Momase region, occasional showers for Lae and Medang, mostly fine tonight with chances of showers tomorrow for Wewak and Vanimore. In the New Guinea Islands, showers for Lorengau, showers and rain with occasional thunderstorms for Kavieng, occasional thundery showers for Kokopo and Rabaul, and showers with occasional thunderstorms for Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, few occasional showers, then morning fog for all centres. And that's the news, sports and weather for tonight, Wednesday, the 6th of April, 2016. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Hope Imaka. Pleasant viewing. Good night.